welcome on stage our next comedian all the way from USA, New York, New Jersey, America. Sir Christopher Magyar, the most uninteresting man in the world. Christopher Magyar!
Good evening. The other day I went to the doctor. You know how some people have sleep apnea? They stop breathing for 1 or 2 minutes in the middle of the night. I think I've got waking apnea. I stop breathing for short periods during the day, 1 to 2 hours. I asked the doctor, is it serious? And he said, in your case, no. Then he said, let me ask you a question. If you could know when and how you're going to die, would you want to know? I said, no. He said, forget it then. But then he said, I can give you something for this. I thought he was going to give me a prescription. It was an application for an organ donor card. You know, one of those kind of cards where you can specify what organs you want to donate. So I put down I want it to be a hair donor. It actually isn't the first time I've donated. When I was living in the United States, when I was about 19 years old, I was approached and asked whether I would donate my sense of humor. They said it was an urgent case. A patient was born without a sense of humor. Patient in Germany. Just one. So I donated it. Unfortunately, the transplant was rejected. But that's okay. I'm used to rejection. Speaking of rejection, I live in Munich. My wife lives in New York. This is good. Ladies, when I say something like that, does this bring out your maternal instincts? Don't you just want to mother me? Don't you just want to take me to your breast? I know, I sure do. At any rate, when I was in college, I learned to cook. I learned to cook very well. I had excellent teachers in college, and one of the best ones was named Hunger. So I learned during the 1970s how to cook, and I call the 70s the decade of joy. I call it the decade of joy because there was a series of books. It started off in the beginning of the decade with The Joy of Cooking, a cookbook. Then it was followed a year later by The Joy of Sex, and then The Joy of Taxes. Anyway, recently I learned, since I live alone, I read that women like men who cook. So I thought, aha, I need a little joy in my life. Men, have you ever cooked for women? There is no joy in cooking for women. I would have more joy cooking for a monastery of Trappist monks in Lent on Good Friday. Now, why do I say that? I want to run through a little scenario with you, first of all, to illustrate a man cooking for a man. You want a steak? Yeah, I want a steak. You want a potato with that? Yeah, I want a potato. How about a beer with that? Yeah, give me a beer. It's easy. Men are easy. Now, before we run through the same scenario with a woman, I first want to say that looking at women, and there are a couple here tonight, a couple examples here tonight, looking at women, one could be forgiven for thinking that they were human. Well, they look human, they have 2 eyes, 2 ears, a nose, arms, legs. They look human, but in fact they have a completely different metabolism. It's a different organism. Let's go through the same scenario. Want a steak? No, I'm a vegetarian. Want a potato? I'll just have a green salad. Now, green on a man's plate is poisonous. You put something green on a man's plate, you can kill him. It's like Superman with Krypton. But women actually eat this stuff, and they survive it. Or, want a beer? No, I'll just have a mineral water, low calorie. The women I have cooked for, and this is not fiction now, these are all real people. I've had people who are allergic to glucose, so no sugar, no dairy products, no gluten, no meat, no alcohol. I have a neighbor who comes from North Germany. I thought, finally somebody I can cook fish for. She hates fish. I have a girlfriend from Australia. She's Australian, she has a marsupial pouch. It sounds a bit odd, but it's very handy when we go shopping. At any rate, we were in a restaurant, and I thought, great, duck breast. She eats everything, except duck. Why? Because when she was a little girl, she had a pet duck. Now, how can I convince her that the duck on the plate is not her pet duck? What words can I use to convince her that this is a duck who was evil and deserves to die? I have another girlfriend, Ellen. Now, this is the kind of woman who makes men want to drink champagne out of her shoe. It's probably because she has a size 42 foot. She recently went vegetarian on me. And then we have Inike over here, who doesn't like anything at all. Can I heat up some air for you? Yes, low-fat air, yes. Is it any wonder then I like to go out and spend my nights? And one of the best ways to spend nights in Munich is die lange Nacht. It all started with die lange Nacht der Museum. You know, the shuttle buses that take you to museums throughout the night, they stay open all night. Then you have the lange Nacht der Musik, lange Nacht der Technik, where you can go and do various experiments, lange Nacht der Clubs, all sorts of long evenings where things stay open. Recently, BMW got into the act. They have a museum up on the Petuelring. Now, if you go there normally during the week, you can go, you can look, but don't touch. It's sort of like a strip bar, you know? You can look, but don't touch. They have a lange Nacht, this is not a joke, lange Nacht der weißen Handschuhe. And what this is, the museum stays open all night. You go there, and when you go there, they give you white gloves, and you can touch. 7 Series. M1. I guess that's why they give you the white gloves. Turtle wax. At any rate, I think this idea can be expanded infinitely. Like, why couldn't we have a lange Nacht der Krankenhäuser? What this would be, the hospitals in Munich could stay open all night, and you have a shuttle buses service running from Bogenhausen Krankenhaus, Klinikum Rex de Isar, Großhaden, Schwabinger Rotkreuz Krankenhaus. And each stop, when you get there, they would give you latex gloves, and you could touch sick people. Or why not a lange Nacht der Komiker, where you could go, for example, to the Chord Club And when you got here, they could give you gloves and you could touch me. Or instead of shuttling from one club to another for stand-up comedy, you could just listen to Mel Kelly do one of his routines, and there you have a very, very long amount. Right there. Sorry, Mel. No, I'm not. Thanks for listening, folks.